Hello!
Hello, AOS fans!
It's the Agents of Weird Hollow.
In this video, we're going to tell you all about the tournament we had up in Market Harbour.
Yes, Market Harbour Clash. There were 22 people who turned up, including us.
It was a grand clash. I think it wasn't a grand clash, but it was a grand event.
It's about as grand as you get, really.
Yeah, it was run by Win & Games, Aaron at Win & Games. Sort of organised it all, and we said, oh yeah, we'll come along to that, and then we realised the trains are all messed up, but then John, the lovely John Grant, who is local and one of our patrons, he said he was going up and he'd give us a lift.
Yeah.
So up we all went to Market Harbour. We had to start out very early in the morning.
2 hours I think it took us to get there.
Actually,
well, 2.5 for me.
The journey wasn't quite so bad as I thought it might be, but yeah, we got there. We got there in time for a donut,
Yeah,
breakfast beforehand and a cup of coffee.
It was a fairly standard 3 games, best of 3. So if all the games went to the Y, you'd play 9 games over the day. But I think there was a stat in there that the number of best of 3s increased into the second and third rounds, which kind of makes sense because as people go up and down.
Your level.
Yeah, exactly. Whether that's very low or very high, wherever it is, you start to find that you're going to play more best of 3s as they start to line up, which I guess is good, but at the same time, it's always that pressure. Like, you got 2 hours.
Yeah.
I don't know how we managed it when GW used to do like 90 minutes. I don't know.
Well, I used to lose my game so quickly that it wasn't really.
Oh yeah, there is that. Yeah.
Because once again, you managed to beat me at a tournament. Oh. I still have yet to finish higher than you in a tournament.
We did both end up in the middle third. Yeah. I think I was like the top of the middle third. You were the bottom of the middle third.
Yeah. I think that's because we'll come on to why that is.
So of the 22 players there was only 3 rivals decks that didn't get a look in. Overall, there was quite a few different rivals decks. It was a Nemesis tournament, but there were no Illusory Might.
No Illusory Might, no Beast-bound Assault.
And no Deadly Depths.
I'm not surprised, to be honest, about the last 2. And I have to say, I'm not overly surprised that there were no Beast-bound Assault. I mean, there are... You reckon they're really good with...
Exile Dead, they're top bananas.
But there were no Exile Dead there at all. Full stop.
No, so I think unless you've got one of those warbands that's got lots of fighters, that's got lots of minions in, I don't think it's for most warbands, so it's got a niche, I think.
There was a Void Cursed Thralls deck.
There was a Void Cursed with Molog, nonetheless.
Which people had suggested online would be a good combo. Let's find out if it is.
Alongside that, there were, of the 22 warbands, there were 4 Ephelims, which is possibly not surprising, seeing as they're like the new hotness at the minute.
And overpowered.
That's why I took them.
There were 3 Crimson Courts, which was quite nice. I think they are just perennial favourites. One of the people who took the Crimson Court I ended up playing in my last game just basically always takes Crimson Court Rivals deck to wherever they go.
Doesn't take anything else, that's it. Rivals,
they were the only Rivals they didn't play because it was a Nemesis event, but they actually just played Rivals. Sarah Murray, she just played Rivals.
And she came
higher than me.
Yeah, she came mid-table, so I mean that's pretty good going.
And she gave up some of her lunch as well to teach some people. So
if you other Sarah, nice work on that one. And
she doesn't watch YouTube though. She didn't know who I was.
She didn't know who we are. I mean, what do you do with that? Yeah. And there was also 2 Kagra's Ravager players, which is interesting.
I'm a little bit surprised about that because Kagra's Ravagers are considered to be bottom tier.
They're not the best around, are they? No. But I guess that was one of the good things about this, that there were people bringing all kinds of stuff. So there was Gitz players there was Spot Guard there was all manner of stuff.
Actually, that's one of the great things about Underworlds. I know there are people who like to win, but I think most people just like to play Underworlds and they just turn up with, oh, this might be interesting, let's try this.
Yeah, and we'll come on to that as well because I've got some thoughts about how my day went on that one. So, of the top 4 warbands, the top 2 were Ephelims, which is again possibly unsurprising because they're massively overpowered,
and because I very helpfully lost my first game massively to the eventual champion.
Yes, so that gave a little bit of a boost up. You're welcome. The other 2 in the 4, I was quite surprised by because third place was Iron Souls.
Iron Souls, I assume it was Iron Souls Tooth and Claw.
Yes.
And they are pretty strong, and if you get the dice on the day, they are pretty unstoppable.
Yeah.
But I gather he was a very expert pilot, which could be, his games took right up to the wire kind of thing. So I think he was quite a thinky player, but he did manage to squeeze out a 3rd place, which is pretty impressive.
And the 4th place was Skittershanks, which I loved seeing that. I mean,
I chatted to Matt partway through, and I said, "Oh, what warband are you taking?" I said, it's Skittershakes. Oh, how are you doing? He expected to say, well, you know, I've been absolutely
smashed.
He said, oh, I've won both my games so far.
You're like,
oh, top table. Yeah, what? I don't know if he said I was top table. I think he was.
He was top table. He was on going into the third round.
Yeah, and so well done, Matt, because that is, I have had no luck with Skittershakes. Excuse me, Stato, what warband was it? What Nemesis deck was he running with?
He was running Daring Delvers.
Delvers.
2 of the top 4 had Daring Delvers,
okay.
one of the Ephelims and them, and then the other Ephelim warband had not the Seismic Shock one, but the other one, not the Daring Delvers.
The Fearsome Fortress.
It was Fearsome Fortress.
The eventual winner,
place.
and that was the one I played against.
He was, yeah.
So do you want to talk about our first round games?
Yeah. So my first round game was against Jack Sheaf, who brought Mollog with the Void Curse Thrall.
So,
thank you for that game, Jack. I did beat him 2-0.
With respect for bringing Void Curse Thralls.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
no respect whatsoever for bringing him.
Yeah, I did longboard him as well in the second game because he brought Mollog, and I mean, I kind of had to because in both games he managed to Void Curse Ephelim, and it was like when he first did it, and I was like, right, well, I'm going to move here, I'm going to blast that screen. And he's like, you can't do range 3 attacks, and I was just like, oh my god, what do I do? That's my entire tactic. Yeah. So even though Ephelim died in both my games,
3 or more, hasn't he got a range 4 attack?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that'd be really weird.
Yeah.
So because of that, I still won, which just shows how overpowered they are, but it was terrifying. I won my first game because I just moved someone onto an objective at the end, and he didn't move Mollog onto an objective. If he'd done that, it would have been a stone cold draw in that first game. So sorry, Jack.
Well, one of those objectives would have been more.
Yes, he would have won actually because he had objective 5 and he didn't move onto it.
So your whole existence at the top of that table is basically just because he didn't.
And I knew because I thought, I think I've got something and I think he's going to score something, so I'm just going to move on to this objective and pray he doesn't move on to objective 5, and he didn't. And if it had been one of our games that we were recording, I probably would say to you probably want to move on to objective 5 in case it's a draw. And so yeah, sorry, Jack, but all's fair in love and war.
I'd say I probably would have told him anyway, because that's the sort of person I am.
I mean, normally I am too, but I thought I've got to win this game because it's Mollog and I don't want to have to go into a best of 3 with this one. So what about your game?
My first game was against the eventual champion.
Right.
So my first game, I almost can't remember. I was like, but I think it was quite close. I mean, I lost, but I think it was reasonably close, and I did okay. I just could not hit anything. And he just kept crit defending. How annoying is that, Pete?
Yeah.
How annoying is that?
Yeah.
He just kept crit defending, which is very difficult to do anything against, because I did have a few objectives which required kills.
Yeah.
The second game, my game just fell apart. He got that card out really early. One of the really overpowered cards about Ephelim have, where you can basically blast 2 people at once if they're standing next to each other.
Yeah.
He got that out turn 1. In fact, I think he got it at turn 1 both games, but I either didn't think about it or he put it on after I'd moved. I basically had two people right up next to each other. And he killed them both. In one go. From then on, I didn't really have a chance, because I have objectives in there about like get 3 people in their half and things like that, and it was really difficult. So everything bricked up and it just went really badly. He scored lots of glory and I didn't score very many.
So into the second round, I got to play against Orc Tim, and I was absolutely petrified. Even though he was bringing the Iron Skulls boys, I was still petrified because he's Orc Tim and he's wrecked face many a time.
The clue's in the name.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He plays them a lot, and I think that game I won 2-1. First game I absolutely smashed him. Second game he actually managed to beat me, but it was really close. It was like 9-10 or something. And then the third game I managed to absolutely smash him, and it really highlighted the imbalance between the warbands. That I was like, I'm going to blast him, and then that means I'm going to do some damage over here, and I'm going to score a glory there, and I'm going to do this, and he's just like, I'll move a fighter up then. And then I'll have another go and I'll score loads of stuff and do loads of things, and then and then I'll move another fighter up, I guess. So yeah, I won that one 2-1. So I was feeling pretty good after that.
My second game was against another patron, Wolfman Gaz, and I have to say that went rather better for me.
Wolfman Gaz brought
Gits,
the Gits.
Zarbag Gits. To be fair, he hadn't played Gits for a very long time. I think he basically threw the deck together in the morning kind of thing, and just wanted to come and meet the agents.
Yeah, so thank you for coming, Gaz.
Yes, I know. I welcomed him by crushing him into the ground. So we were on the bottom table, but so bad were our defeats in the first game, and But everything worked. You know when you get one of those games, well, you've played against that Soul Raid deck.
Yeah,
When it works,
when it works, it's horrific.
So it was that kind of ping, ping, ping. I'm dead, but actually I've scored these. Kind of
I've killed one of yours, which is I can kill another one of yours. I'm going to stop one of yours from being able to do anything, and I've scored some more glory.
Yeah, and the Soul Raid love the Gits because they're quite accurate, but they don't do a lot of damage, and so they just ploughed through.
Pieces.
I think like first turn I'd taken out both squeaks kind of thing. It wasn't quite that, but it felt like it.
Yeah.
And so I scored a load of glory. In the second game he had a bit more of it. His cards worked out better, but in both games I managed to neutralise Snurk pretty early on.
Got to do that if you can get that Snurk out of the way.
And again, it just put another situation where actually it was quite close going into the last round, and I just scored 10 or 15 glory in the last turn.
He's like, I scored 2. I've scored 22.
And so, so I won that 2-0.
So into the third round, and at this point, I was up on the second table from the top, and I kind of didn't like that because there was pressure all of a sudden, and I was up against Wretched, who was the eventual second place Ephelim winner, so it was an Ephelim mirror match.
An Ephelimov.
An Ephelimov. And I wasn't used to it because I'm used to opponents coming towards me, and suddenly we're both sitting at the back of the board, just going pew pew. Yeah. So I had to move forward. In my first game, I lost because I committed my Ephelim too early, and he got killed. Second game, he did a very similar thing to me. He had a death or glory moment where it was like, if I do this and it works, I've killed your Ephelim round 1, and he didn't. So then I managed to kill his Ephelim and managed to win that game. And in the third game, I think he scored like 10 glory before the end of the first round, just on his surge cards. And I was I managed to pull it back, and it was close up until the last round. We went the full 3 matches right up to the end of the round. Last activation, the roll-off pretty much decided it. He won it, and he managed to, I think, kill me with Dark Commands or something like that. Right. But it was like so close, and it could have gone either way at that point. But that
can't have been Dark Commands, that's a tooth and claw.
No, it wasn't Dark Commands. There was another ping damage. There's a ping damage card. It was like, I'm going to do this, and he failed. And I was like, come on! And he's like, I'll do that, then you're dead. And I'm like, oh. So it was.
All been there.
It was really close, and it was a fantastic game. But yeah, there was a lot of pressure at that point.
My third game, I was so tired going to the third game.
Really draining.
I know people. I need to get some tournament practice. I mean, we were up early, and for family reasons, I've been up late the night before as well. So I was really tired. I thought I've got to get this done in 2, and I almost didn't care whether I won or lost. And I won the first game.
And this was against
Sarah
with the Crimson Court.
Crimson Court. I won the first game. I was a little bit lucky. I think her rival's deck bricked a little bit, and I got some key dice rolls at the right time. So I won that one. And going into the second one, I thought, I've got to win this, and I just played really badly. I mean, fair play to Sarah, she capitalised on every single mistake I made. But a couple of things, and the Soul Raid, I've got a lot of things you've got to do.
Yeah.
I forgot to do them.
Got to move your fish, got to move your crabs, all that kind of stuff.
I forgot to play a card which would have made somebody stronger or more defensive, and I forgot to play
defense,
the 3 that kind of thing. And so it went really badly, and I lost. I lost so much. At the end, I had to make up the score because I couldn't remember what we got. We'd forgotten to write it down.
No!
So I just said, I think I got 5. So my glory total might have been a little bit higher. And in the third game, I was just exhausted. What I learned from that game in particular was that I needed a plan B. Because both the last 2 games, I just tried to do the same thing, and I got punished really badly, and I should have not done that. And I learned when I go next time to have a plan B for whatever warband I'd end up taking. Have a plan B, work out what you're going to do, and don't just charge in willy nilly, which is what I did.
Now, for me, like you say, it was really tiring. We're not used to playing 6 to 8 games in a day. And you get 2 hours, yeah, sure, but it's still a lot of thinking going on and a lot of stuff to concentrate on, a lot of background noise. And I was almost worse off for having successful games because I felt bad that I beat people because a lot of the people I played were fans of the channel or knew about us, and so I felt bad when I beat them. And then I was up near the top tables, which then put the pressure on because oh no, I'm going to be playing good players. I've got to try and play my best now. I'm almost tempted next time I go to take a warband or a deck that's just silly and just start at the bottom table, and then whoever's doing and just stay there. Whoever's doing bad, they can come and play me or get to play me.
It'd just be me and you on the bottom table.
But it's like it's always tempted just to take a warband where it's like really dice dependent, and then when it doesn't go my way because the dice decide to screw me over, I could just go, what are you gonna do? Because it was just the pressure was there. But I think, like you say, I need to get more tournament games in.
Yeah, I did really enjoy it, though I did say on the way home I enjoyed the bits in between the games more than the games. I enjoyed my first game actually when I wasn't so tired, but I just love talking to people and meeting people, talking about Underworlds.
Meeting all people.
But I find that, like I think it's what you just said. I just find the pressure of it.
Yeah.
I don't actually.
Which is ludicrous because it's like if we wanted a trophy that badly, we could just go buy a trophy.
Well, there's no pressure, but I don't care about that. It's almost
No.
like I don't know whether anybody else feels like this. I'm more worried about making a silly mistake, or I know sometimes when we've played, I get a bit. I'm really worried about being a really bad loser. And so that almost plays on my mind while I'm playing. So
but it's funny because you're probably nowhere near that, and anybody who played Robbie, you can leave a comment and say. But it's like when we're recording stuff, there's the pressure to play a good game for people watching for the YouTube views and all that kind of stuff. But when you're in a tournament, it's like I kind of want to play well because I want to win games. I want to make do well, maybe win a trophy or something. That's not going to happen, but maybe. Because that kind of aspect isn't quite so much there on the channel side of it, you don't get that way, as it were.
Yeah, I know. It's funny. I think it's because I don't like it when the deck that I built doesn't work. Whereas in this case, because we patched the deck a little bit, I kind of knew it did work, and it was just just luck or a mistake. And if you make a mistake, you own it, and you make a mistake, fair enough. So I'm not sure what it is, because actually you're right. I mean, like I say, I did actually, and at least when playing C, I said, "Oh, you've forgotten to do this." She was like, "Oh yeah." So I
think most people
exactly. Most people the
do
Underworlds do. But like, if I was super competitive and really worried about it, I would have just kept quiet, wouldn't I?
Yeah.
But
I mean, like I did before Jack. Sorry, Jack.
So it was a little bit different to that.
Yeah.
Because this was more of a reaction she'd forgotten to do, rather than an actual whole thing she could do to win.
Yeah. So overall, it was a great day. It was fantastic to see 20 other people turn up. I was hoping we might get just into double figures. So to have 22 people coming down there was absolutely fantastic.
But we are doing it again.
We will be doing it again in September 23rd and 24th. The tour will be on the 24th, the Sunday.
Yes. So we haven't quite worked out the format 100%, but I think it's going to be best of three again.
Probably best of three.
We did a little poll. If
threes.
you've seen it, we've done a little poll. I think most people were like best of three. So it'll be best of three on the Sunday, the 24th. We should give a shout out to Andy Smith, who won the best painted with his Crimson Court. They were really lovely.
They were fan of bone armour, all that kind of
really
stuff.
Good.
It was one of those things that when you see the idea, you go, of course, that makes absolute sense. And that was fantastic. They were great.
And he came to hello at the beginning and it was very nice. So nice to meet you, Andy, and well done. Big shout out to Jack, who managed to pop up the bottom with his Morog's Mob and his Void Curse. I think maybe Morog doesn't work with Void Curse, possibly.
Maybe.
Did you give out a shout to Rob Watson, who travelled miles and miles and miles and miles
over 200 miles
to absolutely get stuffed?
He did bring Sepulchral Guard, and I don't think he's ever played them.
Right, with the Fearsome Fortress. So yeah, he was well beaten. But thank you for coming, Rob. It was great to see you. We met him at a Grand Clash. It was good to see him again. And I want to give a shout out to John, who plays pretty well. He said he learned some stuff. He's written about it in his blog, johngrantminiatures.com. You can go and have a look.
Check that out.
And he gave us a lift. So without John, we probably wouldn't have been there.
And of course, thanks to Aaron and Will and Games for organising it all. Without you, nothing would have happened at all. And they'll be running the next one as well with us. And
so it'll be up in Market Harbour in the same place.
Same place?
Yeah.
Not the same time though.
No, different time. And we will be looking to run one more locally down here in the southeast. But more about that, look out on Facebook Surrounds for more information about that. Yes, do like, subscribe, ring that bell to keep up with all of the announcements that we make. And do leave a comment below. Let us know what your favourite thing about tournaments is. Is it the bling? Is it the win? Is it just being able to chat in between games with fellow like-minded gamers? Yeah, we did get a little bit of loot. Everybody who turned up got a little bit of loot. Yeah, there was some loot there. So hopefully there'll be even more loot at the next one. I did look covetously at the acrylic glory tokens. Might even be mugs. 2 there on the bottom tables anyway. Yep. Alongside all the liking, subscribing and ring of bells, do check us out on Patreon, because all our Patreon supporters will get a discount for entering either the tournament or the Patreon day beforehand, where we're just going to be playing lots of other games as well. So it might be worth a look-see there. So thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this overview of our tournament, and we'll see you soon somewhere in the Weird Hollow. Bye!